All right. So we are going to pick up with chapter 5, section 2. Okay, this is dealing with checking services and credit card transactions. Okay. All right, so our objectives today are identifying bank services available to customers, understanding interest paying checking plans, and credit card, debit card, and mobile payment fees. Okay. So we all know that an ATM card is a payment card issued by the bank that allows a customer to use an ATM. There is usually no fee to use an ATM at any of your branches for your bank. However, the use of ATMs belonging to any other bank may result in a charge of up to $2.50, and the use of an ATM in another country may cost $5 per transaction. Okay, so here's some things we can talk about. First off, none of us calls it an ATM card. We all call it a debit card. Secondly, you can access different accounts with your debit card. So I kind of had a fit the one day with my bank because for a while they tried to tell me that I couldn't access my savings from the ATM, which is not true. They have to just kind of set it up, and I have to yell at them again because I can only withdraw from my checking, which is hyper annoying sometimes, but I guess it just means that I save more because I can't access it unless I go on the website. Whatever. Anyway, the transactions for out of the country. I highly recommend that anytime you plan on going out of the country, there's a couple of things you need to do first. First off, you need to call your bank and let them know that you are in fact going to be out of the country. You need to tell them where you are going. So not only like where you're primarily going, but also the areas where you are going to be traveling through to get to that destination. You also should definitely have the currency of that country on you before you get to that country. And I extremely recommend not actually using your debit card or credit card unless it is a extreme emergency. The fee they attach is not terrible. I want to say it was like $10 or $11, but that would be every transaction. So I think I used my debit card once when I was in Germany. I don't really remember why I needed to use it, but I used it and I was a little bit irritated with the charge, but I just kind of accepted it. So, yes, the best thing you can do is just have things be prepared, always take over the amount. And then you can choose to transfer that leftover back into the US dollar, but honestly, I would just hold on to it in case you go back there again. Not really worth the cost of switching it back, but you guys can do whatever you want. It would be your money. All right. Overdrafts. I'm sure this is a word that you have probably had to hear in your lifetime. It's definitely one that I've had to hear, and I try not to ever hear it again. It rather sucks. So an overdraft occurs when a check is written for which there are non-sufficient funds in the checking account and the customer has no overdraft protection. So right now, the way I have my checking set up is I have draft protection. My bank does charge me if I have to use it like in excess. But basically, as long as I have the money in my savings to cover whatever would have bounced in from my checking, and then they basically just transfer that amount and pay it out, and I don't have to worry about actually having a bounced check. The typical charge to the writer of a bad check is $25 to $35 per bad check. The same charge occurs when a check is returned because it was improperly completed. So, you guys know how sometimes when you pay something and you might set it up to be paid online, if the business messes up on their end, then we get charged if it comes back. I always yell at the business and basically make them pay for everything, but that's just me. Okay. Overdraft protection is given when an account balance is too small to cover the amount of the charge and an overdraft occurs. Charges for the overdraft protection vary among banks. Okay. I don't really know why they're repeating that to you. I can tell you that when an overdraft happens, typically your bank will reach out to you and they will ask if you want overdraft protection. But I mean, you can also set it up. Honestly, I would say that it's a good practice to have anyway. I'm not saying that you should always be like, oh, I have overdraft protection, so I should overdraw my account. Clearly, that is not what I'm suggesting any of you do. What I do suggest, though, is that you do set it up. I always use my savings. You could have a second checking, whatever you feel comfortable with doing. I would definitely have it set up. Unless you feel like being super always on top of your money and knowing every in and out, then I guess you don't have to worry about it. A return deposit item is a check that was deposited and then returned to the bank, usually because of lack of funds in the account of the person or firm writing the check. Typically, it's a charge of $25. Okay. A stop payment order is a request by an account owner that the bank not honor a check already written. And that comes with a fee of $30 per request. I can't tell you. So this is saying it's copyrighted in 2019. But if you look at the original copyright date, we have a copyright of 2011. I mean, it's possible that these fees are this high, but I mean, I would not like go marching into your bank and being like, I was told that a stopped order payment would be $30 per request. I wouldn't. First off, I mean, I doubt you guys would have to even discuss that with anyone. But secondly, I would check your personal bank before you kind of break down into all those fees. A cashier's check is a check written by a bank and it is viewed as being as good as cash. So this cashier's check is sometimes also called a certified check. So they're kind of like one and the same. Basically, what it's saying is that the person coming with that check already had, like, the bank has verified they have that money. So it's not a check that they're writing from their personal checkbook. Like when Sasha and I write a check out, that is from our personal bank checkbook. A cashier's check would be if my landlord didn't trust me, so they said that not only do they want a check, but they want a cashier's check every month. Then I would have to go into the bank, show them that I have $1,400, have them issue me a cashier's check for my landlords, and then I would have to mail it to them. So basically what it does is it allows the person who's going to be cashing or depositing that cashier's check, it gives them an extra layer of security in a sense that they know that the bank would not have issued that if you didn't actually have that money. I will tell you that if you are going to sell your vehicle and you're going to sell your vehicle, like not trade it in, but actually sell it on the side, you want the person to bring a cashier's check or a certified check. Do not accept a personal check if you are selling your vehicle. Okay? Just trying to give you some life lessons. All right. A money order is a purchased instrument that is often used in place of cash and is sometimes required instead of a personal or business check. The payee should be written on the money order by the purchaser immediately after purchase to avoid it being cashed by someone who finds it or steals it. Um, Literally, whoever's name is on the money order, that's going to be who's allowed to cash it. I do not like money orders. I only use them if I'm absolutely required to do so. Um, it's been such a long time that I was required to do that I cannot even give you a good example of when I have needed it. Um, I will tell you that money orders sometimes are what are used at Western Unions. So, like, if you're in the middle of New Orleans and you need like some cash money, so you call your mom or dad and they send you some money, that you're getting a money order when you go into Western Union and pick it up. But they will normally cash it for you right there. Okay. Um, a notary service is an official certification of a signature on a document that is required on certain business documents. Occasionally, this service is free to customers, but there's usually a charge, and they're guesstimating here that it will be $10. Um, I have never gone to a bank to use a notary service. I have only gone to an actual notary. Um, they do have notaries in, like, again, I just recently sold a vehicle, so when you go in to change and transfer your title from one owner to the next, um, the people that do that job, they are a notary. Even though they work for the transportation department, they are able to do that. So, also, side note, apparently there are different rules for selling your vehicles in different states. So Pennsylvania requires you to go into this transportation type area. It's not the DMV. I can't really remember what it's truly called, but basically you have to go into the notary and they notarize everything and then they send it into the state. In New Jersey, apparently to sell your vehicle, all you have to do is have a witness, and the old owner signs in a spot and the new owner signs in a spot, and I believe the witness just literally has to witness it. They don't even have to sign, I believe. And that's it. That's the transfer. They don't have to do anything else. They don't have to pay any extra money. They don't have to send anything into the state. Like, boom, that's it. So, Pennsylvania, of course, proving that they are ridiculously sticklers for everything. All right. Anybody have any questions before we keep moving on with this stuff? I know that was a lot of definitions. Okay. Checking accounts that pay interest. Some plans combine a savings and a checking account. I believe I just have a savings. I yelled at them, so they did not make me have a checking account. Interest rates are paid and are typically low. That is 100% true. Money market accounts pay a higher interest rate, but they require a higher balance and they limit the number of transactions. So obviously for me, I'm going to want one of these maybe in like 10 years when I have a real job that's full time and I can be getting, money in every 2 weeks and not have to worry about semester to semester. Then I can maybe have something like this. But let's be real, I hate when some agency wants to tell me how many transactions I can have. It's my money. I should get to do with it what I want. All right. Credit card sales and calculating the fee. Again, when you look at some of these problems, they are not always going to tell you what the situation is. So if I were you, I would look at almost everything unless told otherwise that it is coming from a business standpoint. So I know when I did some of your homework problems, I was sitting there thinking like, there's no way they would be charging this fee or this amount if it was a human. So that's kind of like, if it doesn't make sense to you as a singular fee for you as a person, then you probably are working with a situation where it's for a business. All right. Businesses are charged with fees whether customers pay using credit cards, debit cards, or a device such as a smartphone to make a mobile payment. Fees are hidden and they're everywhere. So I think we talked about this the other day, like how sometimes they'll have little signs that basically say, like, you can only use the debit card if you buy this much money, whether it's in food or gas or whatever the situation is. And that's because the company gets charged for every single transaction that happens. The reason for that is because they have to protect the cash against theft, which requires safes, armored cars, shipments, guards, and other processes to prevent theft. So the businesses have costs no matter how they are paid. Managers continually to work to keep transaction costs low, including costs based on payments. All right. I think we all kind of get the gist of this, right? I'll read to you anyway. Why not? It's Thursday. All right. After a customer has made a credit card charge at a merchant, information on the transaction is transferred over the internet to the bank through the bank's processor. As shown in the following figure, the processor then shares the information with the merchant's bank, as well as the issuer of the credit card. The issuer of the credit card accumulates charges for the month and will send bills to the owner on a monthly basis. The statement may include returned items with credits to the card owner. Sorry, that was terrible. So here you go. There's the cycle of it. I believe I told you at some point I would go on a tirade about how terrible credit cards are. Did I not? Pretty sure I told you this. Okay.
You did.
Okay. So here it is. Here is the tirade. And I don't know if I will end up having some form of dementia or Alzheimer's, not to make fun, but I do forget about what I talk about. So you may have to hear this story more than once, especially if it makes cognitive sense to say it. So credit cards, they are terrible, horrible, horrible things. The reason why we need them is so stupid. And by the way, the actual math behind figuring out your credit score, you will never be able to do it. I am not telling you that because I don't have faith in you. I just think it's a bunch of junk science math. I don't even know if it is math. It's literally just a bunch of stuff that they randomly decide makes up a credit score. And I'm saying all this with an awesome credit score. I have an excellent rating. Don't ask me how. I have no idea. It's ridiculous. I have been from the bottom of the bottom to the point where I probably couldn't have bought a pair of shoes on credit. And, now I have an excellent credit. Most of it is due to my amazing partner, but regardless, they now are in the fair range. So it's funny, but it's not. So I'm just letting you know that you will never really be able to truly walk in and be like, I know exactly how my credit score was figured out. If you're someone who's in this class because that is what you want to do in the future, good for you. Okay. If I prayed, I would pray for you because that is some stuff that would make my brain hurt. Anyway, this is the story I will tell you. We decided to buy a washer and dryer, okay? Because we're renting a pretty big house. Don't worry, we're leaving as soon as the lease is up because it's ridiculous. But we were big dum-dums. We got super excited, so we went out and we shopped comparison, right? We ended up going to Best Buy because they, had these fancy washer and dryers, which we went in with the thought process of just getting the old big clunkers. But the problem is we couldn't get the old big clunkers because we're renting a house that's over 100 years old. So the doors are this big. Okay, so you had to get one of the newer ones that, and you just plug it in and whatever. And, for 6 months, we'll give you this awesome thing where it can tell you on your phone if your clothes are done and you have to walk down the 3 flights of stairs to, move them over into the dryer. But then after that, you got to pay a fee. Why? Because they want to make money, whatever. So we open this credit card so my partner can build on more of their credit. We are told that the credit card will have 0 interest for it's either 18 or 24 months, whatever. Okay. We knew we could pay it off before the time was up anyway. So we buy the washer and dryer, have it delivered. My partner doesn't like the washer when it starts. Why don't you like the washer? Well, because apparently, because it's an eco-friendly washer, you have to hit this ridiculous fill button that's off to the side, completely not even with the rest of the rest of the buttons. Makes no sense. It's off to the side. It's like supreme fill. So you have to push supreme fill to get anything to actually be like watered enough to actually wash it. So the first round of clothes that we washed, we ended up having to take to my parents' house 6 hours away whenever we went to visit, because when we took them out, they were literally they were dry. So they had been damp 3/4 of the way down, and then everything on top was just dry. So we literally just washed dirty clothes and they came out just as dirty and gross. So we kind of flipped. So they said, okay, well, don't return everything yet. Let's just switch out the washer. So we'll exchange it. We'll give you the same washer, but maybe that unit's just messed up. Okay, whatever. So they bring in the new washer. They switch it out. The switch out, by the way, happens on December 5th. There's a reason why I tell you these dates. So we come back from our Christmas, Thanksgiving that we had to celebrate because, of course, you can't do anything with COVID. So that was our way of being safe. Get this new washer. Now, the people who decided to put in the new washer also decided to switch around our pallets. So now the washer is not level. And the washer and dryer are constantly having a power failure alert. Okay. So we literally lost our minds. We went back to Best Buy. We said, take it all away. We don't want it at all. And we just want a refund. We want all of our money back. We're so done with this. So then they say, okay, well, we can't really give you your refund until the product is scanned back in our warehouse. Okay, so come pick up your product. So they come and pick up their product. They take it back to the warehouse and we kind of forget about it, right? We're like, okay, everything's fine. And then eventually we're like, hey, did you get your money back from Best Buy? No, I didn't get my money back from Best Buy. Did you get your money? No, I didn't. So we go into Best Buy and we're like, hey, we didn't get our money back. And they're like, huh, that's weird. It says in our system you're 100%, refunded. No, we're not. So then now we have this bank card calling us into collections because now we haven't paid them because obviously we assumed, well, the only thing we got was the washer and dryer. We've returned the washer and dryer. So our math says that should equal out, right? You put in, you send it back, you get a 0 balance. So, Best Buy took so long to give us our refund that the credit card company then tried to give us a late fee. So we lost our minds. I told them we were not going to pay their late fee. And this is where credit card companies are ridiculous, guys. So let's just think about this for a minute. So there's not supposed to be any interest on it, and there isn't. I've checked the bill. $0 for interest, at least until the 18 months. So to make up for the no interest, they are now constantly giving us late fees. So we put the whole thing into a dispute, and their company literally sent us a letter that said, while in dispute, you are not responsible for any late fees that may occur, because they shouldn't be occurring, and you are not responsible for paying any of the bills. Like, there should basically be no bill sent to you if you're in dispute. So not only did they send us a bill, but they sent us a bill with a late fee. So we then had to call them and explain to them their own process, that we have a letter that we can scan and send them that came from them saying that we should not be getting a late fee. So then in their system, they wrote down that they were taking away the late fee, but we still had to pay the full amount, and it would just go towards the principal. Now, if your minimum payment is $29 and then you are charging me a $29 late fee, why would I have to pay $62 because you took away the late fee, but I still have to pay you $62, or else I'm going to get another late fee for not paying the whole amount? Do you see what kind of black hole credit card companies are? And this is a credit card company through a bank. So this is through Citibank that has a partnership with Best Buy. So you guys just have to be extremely careful with all this. So we're still fighting them. Somehow Best Buy gave us more money back, so we now have to turn around and pay $340 onto this credit card, which is fine because it all balanced out. They just didn't give the right amount to the credit card company. But now, instead of just being able to just pay the $340 off, we now just keep getting hit with late fees because they know that they can't make any money off us off of the interest. Absolutely absurd. And that's just our most recent experience with credit cards. Someday I will tell you my big, huge, why I now have good credit, but once had horrible credit story. But I won't give you all the stories in one day. I'm a much better storyteller than that. Okay. Finding net deposit for credit card sales. All right, so this is a formula you want to take note of. I know it's kind of more wordy, but it will make sense when you see an example. You take the net credit card sales, and in order to find what the net is, you take the total credit card sales and you subtract off the credit card refunds. Okay, so again, you guys have to put yourselves in the mind of the business. So typically when you see credit card refund, you're really happy, right? You're like, oh, I'm getting some money back. But that's not good for the business. So they have to remember to take the credit card sales and subtract the refunds. Then you take the appropriate percent, and they'll tell you what that percent is, times the net credit card sales. And then you take net credit card sales minus card sales, and then the minus the total fee. So this will make more sense once we kind of get into an example. All right. Okay. Oh, I guess it would have helped if you had the other two words. Sorry, guys. Did not know that was there. I thought it was a little bit weird for only one formula. I was like, Okay, so yes, total fee, which now that makes way more sense, is the appropriate percent times the net credit card sales. So you can kind of see you have to do it in this order, or you either have to be given certain things, or this is the order you have to find them in. And then net deposit is net credit card sales minus the total fee. Okay. And like I said, this stuff will make more sense to you as you work through some of your examples or your homework. Okay. So let's look at example 1. Here are some credit card sales and credit card refunds made one afternoon at Rose Gardens. Find the total credit card sales, the total credit card refunds, and the net credit card sales. Then find the bank fee charged, assuming a fee of 2% of the net credit card sales. Finally, find the amount deposited to the Rose Gardens checking account. Okay, so I know I keep saying it, but again, this one was nice enough to tell you that it is dealing with a business. Just if I were you guys, I would go into the mindset that almost all of your questions are going to be coming from a business standpoint. Okay. So this is what you will be given. Okay. You'll be given this little blurb, and then underneath the blurb, you will have something that looks like this. You have to add the left-hand side together. Then you add the right-hand side and you subtract the difference. So if we do that, what's up?
Add like 82, everything under 82 and everything under 146?
Yes, anything under the credit card sales. So where's my little annotate thing? So you add all of these up. And remember when I was telling you guys that sometimes you could get like kind of frustrated with just like having to keep things kind of separated. This is where that starts to happen. So we go ahead and add these up. Okay. So, and someone can correct me if I don't have enough people that agree with me. And definitely in this class, as in all classes, your professors are not infallible. They are not people that do not live daily lives as you do. So, you know, it is more than possible to make a mistake. And I will let you know that it is quite possible for me to make a mistake in this class because, man, we're dealing with money and it all has to be precise. Ugh, ridiculous. There's so many numbers in this class. All right. So here are our two areas. Then we would take and subtract the difference. So at some point, we should see this amount on the next coming pages. 1303.19. Okay. That should be the total credit card sales. Okay. All right, let's see if we were right. And if you guys need that again, don't worry, I have it saved. Okay, see, there we go. Net sales. And that should be what we found, right? Yay for us doing it correctly. Okay. So then I don't really have to talk to you about this one because we just worked it out. All right. Now, here is a slight difference. Once you find the 1303.19, now you have to find the bank fee. To find the bank fee, you take 2% of the 1303.19. So to do that, you literally just do 0.02 times 1303.19, and you will get your 26.0638. They've rounded to the nearest cent, so 26.06. And then finally, to find the amount deposited in the Rose Garden checking account, they had to subtract off from the amount that they found, they had to subtract the bank fee. So the total getting shoved in there after all that work is $1,277.13. Now, that doesn't mean that they're not also getting another charge, because wasn't it, didn't we have like just a regular account fee if checking accounts were under a certain amount? So if this is all they have in their account, then they're probably getting charged $7.50 plus all their transactions. Okay, so think about it. If owning a business is really what you want to do before you go jumping in head first. All right. Again, not saying that if any of you are super, super passionate that you shouldn't do what you want, because more power to you. All right. Merchant Printing had the following sales late one afternoon: $58.20, $41.17, $18.67, and $137.10. Find the extra amount of service charges that must be paid off if all transactions were made using a credit card with a bank fee of 2.25% compared to all other transactions made using a debit card with a charge of 0.21 cents per swipe. So I'm just going to go ahead and show you the next slide because I don't know if they want us to do that with the same numbers. I believe they do. Yes. Okay. So here's how this works. We have to add up the total amount, and then you multiply it by the 0.0225. Where did that 0.0225 come from?
Interest.
Close. So remember, when we come back here, that's the bank fee. Okay. A little bit different than interest. All right.
So was there no refunds for this?
Yeah, no refunds for this problem. It's having to do with something a little bit different. So what you have to realize is that we're going to add the total sales, multiply it by the bank fee. We have this fee. In addition to that, we had 4 transactions, and we're charged, we, by the way, is the universal for the business, we are charged 21 cents per swipe. So that's times 4, so that's 84 cents. So not only do you have the bank fee of the total amount of your credit card transactions, but you also have the per swipe transaction. So you actually have to go ahead and take the credit card and subtract off the per swipe. And I believe that is because they can't really charge you both. Regardless, that's how you do it. Any questions on that? On any of the stuff that we've covered in 5.2 up to this point? We still have 5.3. So I am going to pull that up because we have about half an hour. Okay. Can you guys still see what I'm casting? Okay. All right. Bank statement reconciliations. This will be the first homework you will come across that I'm telling you will want to have a couple of days because you might have to step away from it. And we're a week ahead, so you guys have more than a couple days. Although I do not recommend waiting. I definitely suggest staying up to date with me, because you never know when we'll have to get to a chapter where we'll need more time. Okay. So what we're going to work on is knowing the importance of reconciling a checking account, reconcile a bank statement, list the outstanding checks, and find the adjusted bank balance or current balance. And just so you guys know, I watched the videos. I did not go through the PowerPoints before I did the homework. So hopefully maybe that will make a difference for you guys. Okay. Reasons to look at a bank statement. The fees charged by the bank vary month to month. That would kind of be a no-brainer, as you are living your lives and you don't really live your life like Groundhog Day. So of course you're going to have different charges each month. A deposited check may be returned due to insufficient funds. The amount of the check and any fees must be deducted from the account balance. And a scheduled deposit may not have been made. The account holder may have made an error in the check register or when entering data into the firm's computer. Electronic payments may be for an incorrect amount, or two payments may have been made when only one should have been made. Yo, that happens to me all the time. I go to pay my bank credit card and I swear I'm like, man, this is like deja vu. I swear I already set this up to be paid. And no joke, even though it is not listed in my future payments, I end up paying that card twice, like back to back days. It drives me nuts. And honestly, I can call and fight them and say, give me my money back. And I used to when I was going like paycheck to paycheck, you bet your bottom dollar I called them and said, give me my 100 back. I need gas. So I will call and do that. But these days I'm just like, you know what, whatever. Just keep my dang money. All right. And then banking employees may have made an error. The majority of the time, I will be honest with you, this does not happen so much. However, do not be afraid to stand up for yourself and ask if there was a mistake, because I called into my health insurance and do you know that they put my money on someone else's account? No freaking joke. I paid my bill, my freaking $160, because I have to pay for my own health care, and they put it on someone else's account. That's literally what she said. Oh, I'm sorry, that was placed on a different account. Didn't say it was a different one of my accounts, just said it was put on a different account. Are you kidding me? I don't understand the world today. Okay. So the process of checking the bank statement against the check register is called reconciliation. Wow, that's really hard to read even with it bigger. Can I make it any bigger? No. So I guess if you need to see that bigger, you can either try to zoom in, but for me, it's just going to keep changing the page. You can look at the PDF of it and zoom in really far. But basically, this is an example of a bank statement. You can see that it has the address. Now, this is for that Rose Gardens. Your bank statement would obviously have your name and your address. It tells us the statement period. And then obviously for most of us, we would probably have more than one page. It has your account number, previous balance, credits, debits, fees, and present balance. You just literally have to go through and read all of it. You don't need every single detail that is on here, but Pearson will give you an example and then they will ask different questions. Okay. The most recent bank statement for Rose Garden shows a balance of $6,892.41 after a bank service charge of $6.42 and an interest credit of 78 cents. The check register for Rose Garden shows a current balance of $7,580.38. Reconcile the account as follows. Okay. So typically we hear interest and we think that is a bad thing. When they are talking about an interest credit, that is a good thing. We add it. Okay. Not saying that their 78 cents is a whole heck of a lot, but we still add it or else you will make a mistake in your calculations. What? Okay. It's either going to come back around or They just want us to do it. So we're going to put, make a little space or, star it or something. I don't know why they would split this up, but I will either come back and do it for you or it will come up again. All right. Listing outstanding checks. Find the checks outstanding by comparing the list of checks on the bank statement against the list of checks written by the firm. Okay. So they're just breaking it down for you step by step. I see what they're doing. All right. So here's the check number. Here's the amount. After listing the outstanding checks in the space provided on the form, total them. Okay, so let me come back to this little form with you. All right, so if we have an outstanding check, here are our checks. So 846, 852, 853, 857, and 858. So let's go back and make sure that we can find them all. Okay, so here's 847, 848, 849. Where are the other checks? Huh. Oh, that's interesting. 949 and 6. It's like they're using a different statement. Okay, that's weird. All right, so when you guys do this with Pearson, they're going to match up a bit more. I don't know if they gave us the wrong statement or is anyone else seeing something that I'm not seeing? Feel free to point it out to me if you see it differently. Because we have these 3 checks, but they're not matching. Right? Not the only one confused on that?
They don't show it.
They don't show it? Okay, good deal. Please do me a favor. When you work on these, if you're having any trouble with them, please email me. We can do another Zoom. We can do a whole Zoom with everyone if everyone has an issue with it, or we can work on it on Tuesday. They should be matching up. When you pull them out, they should be matching up. I don't know why they're not matching up for this example. All right. Follow the steps listed here and shown on the reconciliation form on slide 13. If you follow these steps, you will get the right answer. Trying to deviate from the steps, it ends up making one frustrated and you often get the wrong answer. Okay, so step 1, enter the new balance of $6,892.41 in the space at the top of the reconciliation form. And you will see that at the end after we go through all the steps. Step 2, list any deposits that have not yet been made that are recorded by the bank. These are called deposits in transit, or DIT. I think when you do it on Pearson, they literally just labeled it not yet deposited or something like that. I just went by their wording. Suppose the Rose Gardens has deposits of $892.41 and $739.58 that are not yet recorded. These numbers are written at step 2 on the form. Okay. Step 3, add the numbers from steps 1 and 2. So for this example, That total is $8,524.40. I would definitely write these steps down without the example as well, so you can always refer back to it. And I believe you're allowed, we'll have to double check what the review says, but you're either allowed a note card or a large note card or half a sheet of paper back and front. If you don't have any note cards, don't go buying note cards. Don't. Just use the paper. You're going to send it to me in a photo anyway, so I'll know if you wrote really big on a single sheet of paper. All right. Step 4, write the total of outstanding checks. For this case, it's $949.66. Step 5, subtract the total in step 4 from the amount in step 3. The result here will be $7,574.74, which is the adjusted bank balance or the current balance. The numbers should represent the current checking account balance. Okay, I will let people write that down while I tell you a side note. When you do some of these problems, you have to reconcile the checking account from both the side of the bank statement and the checkbook. When you do that reconciliation, you will have an internal check, no pun intended, when they both match. If those reconciliation amounts match, then you did the problem right, and you should be good to go. All right. Now look at the firm's own records. Step 6, list the firm's check register balance of $7,580.38 on line 6 of the reconciliation form. Step 7, enter the total service charge. For this example, it was $6.42 on line 7. Step 8, subtract the charges on line 7 from the checkbook balance on line 6 to get $7,573.96. Okay. All right. Step 9 says enter the interest credit of, for this example, 78 cents on line 9. This is interest paid on money in the account. Step 10 says add the interest on line 9 to line 8 to get $7,574.74. The same result as in step 5. So if step 5 and step 10 match, then you've done what you're supposed to do. Since the result from step 10 is the same as the result from step 5, the account is balanced or reconciled. The correct current balance in the account is $7,574.74, and there were no errors in this month. The owner of Rose Gardens knows exactly how much money is in her checking account. I will tell you that if I got these problems right, I literally just wrote reconciled and circled it really big because it can get extremely frustrating. These problems are, I think they're pretty hard. All right, so here you will see the written out reconciliation form. One of these, at least one of these, is on your exam for chapters 1 through 5. So definitely know how to do it. Definitely do your homework. Definitely make sure that you ask me if you have any questions. Like I said, the only thing I can't help you with at the moment is it looks like they put on a different statement because this is not matching what they have. But everything else matches up. Okay? You don't have to write that down. You can just take it off of Canvas. Okay, why a checking account might not balance. You can forget to enter a check, a debit, an electronic payment, or an ATM withdrawal. Transposing numbers. This happens all the time. Try not to get frustrated. Honestly, if it happens to you, just start over. Okay? So entering 961 and 20 cents as opposed to 916 and 20 cents, it will happen. Don't get too frustrated. Making addition or subtraction errors. Forgetting to subtract one of the bank service fees, such as those charged for a return check or for the ATM use at a different bank. Bounce checks, deposits not made on time, and service charges. Okay. I will tell you that the majority of your exams with me will actually be application-based problems. I don't believe I have too many like definition questions, but if I do, you'll know because it will be on the review. Okay. Using the information on the following check register in the bank statement, reconcile the checking account. Compare the items appearing on the check register to the bank statement. A check, which apparently is a box, indicates that the transaction was on the prior month's bank statement, so it does not need to be added or subtracted again. Codes indicate the following. RC means return checked, SC means service charge, IC means interest credit, and ATM means automated teller machine. All of those codes are used for the Pearson questions. However, they also, I am 90% sure, tell you what they mean every single time. All you have to remember is which ones you add versus which ones you subtract. So in RC would be a subtraction, I believe. SC is a subtraction. IC is an addition, and ATM, I believe, would depend on if it was a deposit or a withdrawal. Okay, so this is our register. Here's our check. That means that it's coming from last month, so you don't have to worry about it. ATM cash means it's a withdrawal. Here we have a deposit. So basically the withdrawals will be negatives. I suggest you add them up, but you want to add up only the ones you need. So this 7308, this 836.15 to the IRS, 450 for supplies, 6780 for the Sacramento B. TVA is 5925. The Carmichael office is not 900. That would be a mistake. $97.37, and then their ATM cash withdrawal was $80. They have a deposit of $983.37 and $875.45. So if you add all of those up and find your difference, all right, here is a bank statement. Okay, so this one is what the someone working at the business has done. This is what the bank gives them. Okay. Then you would have to go through and make sure that everything checks. So it's literally someone's job or part of someone's job to go through and make sure that the company is not basically getting screwed over at all, each month. Okay. Though I'm sure they would want to do it more than monthly. All right, so here's our conclusion. Since the adjusted bank's balance from step 5 is the same as the adjusted checkbook balance from step 10, the account is reconciled or balanced. The correct current balance in the account is $2,464.55. So if we go back here, here's number 10, and here's number 5. Do you guys see how they match? Okay. All right. Okay. I'm just going to send you or show you one more thing, I think, before I ask if we have any questions. Okay. All right, so this is your exam 1 review. I am obviously not showing you your exam. You can see it's got the big old word practice up at the top. I've gone through and done the solutions, so we can go through them next week. But just wanted to show you guys this real quick. I would suggest doing this. You have all the answers here, so you can check yourself. But of course, if you don't get to that answer, we can go over it. We'll go over it on Tuesday. The other thing I wanted to show you is for your quizzes that are due this weekend. I apologize for the length of major quiz 1, but some of the questions are easy. So when you go through them, they're not going to feel like they are like the exam is or quiz is as long as it is. I literally called it a major quiz because I know how many questions there are. Please make sure you fill or try to do all of them. And then the other one that I want to talk about real quick is major quiz 2. There are basically 2 smaller quizzes in this. So don't forget and do all of them. So you'll have 2 sets of 1 through 14, okay? So this second part goes up to 30, but the first part is 1 through 3, and then 4 through 9, and then 10 through 12, and 12 apparently add twice. You don't have to answer twice. I just didn't know that I copied it up there. And then 13 and 14. Okay, so make sure you do all of them. They're weighed pretty high. So, and then if you guys have any questions